Hey everybody, Biblical Brennan here. I know it's been a while, to be a little bit more specific, about 9 months since my last upload, and in case you've been wondering why that is, I don't have a really good excuse. It's just because I've been putting it off too much, and I want to stop putting it off and get into the swing of things, start grinding out a little bit more on my channel, because I really feel like this is something that I do want to do, and I just need to stop putting it off, because the longer I put it off, then I'm going to put it off even more, and I'm not going to be uploading, and then eventually it's just going to be forgotten about, and I don't want that to happen. I enjoy making these videos for you, so that's just something that I want to work on. And soccer season, yeah, I play soccer, wearing a jersey right now. It's my favorite team, PSG. And soccer season should be ending soon, sometime in the next couple of weeks, so I'll have even more time on my hands to work on some stuff that I've been wanting to work on, and one of those big factors is this channel and working on Biblical Brennan and just getting closer to God in my personal life off camera as well, because of course I don't record everything I do to get closer to God. Then I would record almost everything that I do, which would be tough. So that's really just why I haven't been uploading. And for my plans to start uploading better, I've been thinking of some ideas, and Lads to Leaders is coming up soon, so there's probably something I can talk about that a little bit. And also, soon I will be buying a new soundboard and a couple of mics. By the time this video is uploaded, I might have already bought them, but at the time of recording, I have not, but I have made the decision that I'm going to. So that's exciting, and I can't wait to use that. Today's lesson that I'm giving is one that I gave at a church about a week and a half ago. I'm not going to disclose the name of the church just for privacy reasons, but I'm really excited to share it with you guys, and I hope that you can learn something from this lesson that I gave. I thought it was one of the better ones that I've done, and I've looked over it, and I just thought my delivery was a little bit better than a few other of the sermons that I've given across various times and places. And so I'm really excited for you to get to hear this, and just thank you for watching and enjoy. If you want to, take notes. If you don't want to, don't. It's really not up to me, that's up to you, but feel free to take as much as you can from this lesson and look at it, and if there's anything you think I could have done better, any point you believe that I missed, or just really anything I could have added or omitted, then please let me know. I would love some tips and some help from you guys, because I want to get the best I can at spreading the gospel. But without any further wait, no more talking from me, here is my sermon about the parables of the hidden treasure and the pearl. That was great, Brooks. It's going to be hard to follow up. Let's see, do we have the point ready? There we go. Now, if you learn one thing from my lesson today, I hope it's not how good of a slideshow maker I am. I'm not the great with these, so stick with me, and I hope you can truly learn something spiritual from the lesson. But today I want to look at two parables that are pretty short, but they definitely have a great meaning, and they're definitely very, very powerful. These were taught in Matthew 13, 44 through 45. They are the parables of the hidden treasure and the pearl. And they will really help us understand how much the kingdom of God is worth, and how highly God truly values us, his people. So we'll start out by looking at what is the kingdom of heaven. And Matthew 12, verse 28 helps us understand that. The kingdom of God has come upon you. God's reign is here. It is present in the world.
It is perfect and righteous. And you don't have to wait for it. It is something that is here. God's kingdom, God's reign, God's rule is now. So what is our ultimate goal to achieve God's kingdom? Well, it's a personal connection that actively grows. It gets bigger. And so here I've put together a few steps that we can take to achieve God's kingdom. Now, of course, there may be plenty more things that we can do, but these are some basic fundamentals that we can continue to practice that'll help us to be part of God's kingdom. And the first is prayer. It's one of, if not the most effective ways to build a relationship with God. Actively talking to Him and sharing your burdens with Him will not only help you feel better, but will also grow your personal connection to Him. Prayer is an incredibly powerful way to connect and talk to God and just share anything you want with Him. The next is studying. Studying regularly is a great way to build your connection with God. If you want to grow a relationship with any person, no matter what kind of relationship it is, and no matter who it is, one of the key things that you want to do is to learn more about them. Well, the Bible is our tool. It is our gateway to learn more about God and what we need to do to please Him. Making Bible study a regular part of our routine helps us learn about God, what He wants you to do, and how we can move forward in our journeys as Christians. Studying every day. I've been doing plans on the YouVersion Bible app, and they have really helped me to grow closer to God, whether it is just a regular reading the Bible or maybe taking a deeper look. For example, I did plans to go through all of the fruit of the Spirit, and I feel like they truly did help me grow as a person and as a Christian. Now, the next one is something that is not talked about as often, and that I really think is a bit of a forgotten command from God, and that is fasting. Fasting can really help us, and it seems that we have eventually filtered it out from our regular lifestyles. I don't know when this happened, but we don't think about fasting the same way as we do as studying and prayer. And I really feel like that is something that we need to do, because Jesus teaches us to fast. Jesus teaches us that faith comes through prayer and fasting, not just prayer. And He sets the example for us. When He was tempted by Satan in the wilderness, He fasted for 40 days, and then He was able to resist all of Satan's temptations. Fasting really supplements the other two, because I feel like the true point of it is that when you feel those pains from not eating or from whatever you are stopping doing, then you can take the time to pray, to study, and to connect with God instead of connecting with your physical body. And so now that we have talked about how we can achieve the kingdom of God that is mentioned in these two parables, I would like to go into the first parable, which is the hidden treasure, the most valuable treasure, as we see here. Matthew 13:44. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again, and then in his joy, he went and sold all that he had to buy that field. So I want you to picture in your head stumbling upon a treasure so incredibly valuable that you would willingly give up everything to obtain it. That's what happens to this man. He finds something so awesome that he sacrifices everything for it. And selling everything to obtain this treasure wasn't just his first reaction, but it was his natural, uninfluenced reaction as a human being. The first thing he wanted to do is go say, I am going to give up everything to obtain this. This man went out of his way to make sure he obtained the treasure. In ancient times, under old law, people would hide valuables in the ground for safekeeping. When this man discovered such a treasure, he recognized his worth and took action to gain it. You see, under the old law, the treasure would belong to whoever owned the land. So I feel like with this parable, it is safe to assume that he was doing some kind of work in the land when he stumbled upon this treasure. That means that this treasure wouldn't be his. And he knew that this was something so great, he had to put all of his life's effort into obtaining it. He made the effort to get the land solely because of how great the treasure is. The entire land just for this one treasure. That is how great the kingdom of heaven should be for us, that we should be willing to give up everything. So I would like to ask you this question. Is achieving the kingdom of God this valuable to you? And if you don't feel like this is the same worth as achieving God's kingdom is, what is hindering you? What is keeping you from that? And I would like to locate that and then try and have it removed from your life. Try and pray about it. Try and do whatever you can to make obtaining the kingdom of heaven your number one priority. Now, as I was studying this verse, I found two perspectives, and I think they're both very interesting, and there is one that I think Jesus was going for, and another one that we can still learn from, even if it wasn't completely the intended reason. Now, the first one is that Jesus is the man that finds the treasure, and we are the treasure. Jesus went and sacrificed his entire life so that he could obtain us and bring us into the kingdom of heaven. And then the other one is that we are the man, and that God and his kingdom is the treasure. The first one emphasizes the ultimate price that Jesus paid so that we could be with him, and that he gave everything out of a sheer, undeserved love for us. And then the second one emphasizes that our natural response to learning about Christ should be to give up everything just to have him. Now, due to Jesus saying that the kingdom of heaven is like the treasure, I believe that this second one is more of what Jesus was going for. I told you I'm not great with the slides. I don't know what happened here. That circle was supposed to be right there. I don't know what happened. So I feel like the second one is really what Jesus was going for, but that also doesn't mean that we can't learn anything from this other perspective. And so now I would like to dive into the second parable, which is the parable of the pearl. And the first thing I would like to point out is that the merchant was actively seeking this pearl. He was looking for it. He wasn't just casually shopping around. He was looking for something as amazing in value as this pearl. And when he found the perfect one, he gave up everything to obtain it. And unlike the first parable, where the man just finds this treasure accidentally, we learned that we need to seek, that seeking is an essential part of finding God's kingdom. Like in Matthew 6:33, seek ye first the kingdom of God. It doesn't say randomly come upon the kingdom of God and then sacrifice everything. No, it says seek for the kingdom. We want to be trying to find Jesus as hard as we possibly can. Finding the kingdom calls for a heart of sacrifice. After we have been seeking, and once we find it, we need to be willing to sacrifice everything, which is really what these two parables share, that we need to be willing to give everything up. So I would now like to look at the cost of the kingdom, and that is anything. We must be willing to sacrifice anything. These parables teach us that finding God's kingdom comes as a cost, and that cost is anything that stands in the way of us and Jesus. It won't be easy, but it definitely will be worth it. Now, Matthew 16, verse 19 says, I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Jesus, in this verse, invites us to join his kingdom, but that only comes through dedication and sacrifice. It only comes through the ultimate act of being willing to give up everything. There's this church hymn that we sometimes sing. It says, it starts with the person that is singing saying, all of self and none of thee. And as you sing through the song, it progresses. Some of self and some of thee. And then eventually throughout the hymn, it gets to none of self and all of thee. That is the ultimate progression that we need to have as Christians. No matter where you think you are, the ultimate goal should be to hit none of self and all of thee. We may have to sacrifice something such as comfort, status, wealth, or relationships, but in the end, it will all be worth it to achieve the ultimate goal of Jesus Christ and his kingdom. Now, in conclusion, these parables challenge us to evaluate what we treasure the most. Are we willing to sacrifice anything for the sake of God's kingdom? Just as Jesus saw us as valuable enough to give his life, we should see him as the greatest treasure worth any sacrifice. Today, if you feel like you are not in the right position to sacrifice something, if you still feel stuck in all of self and none of thee, then I ask you to please come while together we sing the invitation.